Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Iceberg Theory podcast, where we go beyond what's visible. Today's episode is very special. We often admire people for their wins, the medals, the milestones, the achievements we see on the surface. But what we don't see is what shaped them, the failures, the self doubt, the breakdowns, and the grit that built their mindset. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. I'm in conversation with someone who has run not one or two, but 25 marathons. But this isn't just a story about running, it's about falling down, getting back up, and the inner game of resilience. This episode is for anyone who's ever felt defeated, who's ever failed, or who's standing at a point in life wondering, can I really start again? Because today's story is your reminder that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. Enjoy the episode. Hi, Prakash. Welcome to the podcast, The
Hi,
Iceberg
Neil.
Theory.
Good
Hi.
evening.
Hi. Today we have Prakash joining us on our podcast. Prakash is an MCC. He's a Master Certified Coach by ICF. He's also an international NLP trainer, NOD consultant. He was rated the top 100 influential coach 2023 by the World HRD Congress. He holds an MBA from the Oxford School of Business Management and is also the founder of Born in Flight, a global talent transformation company. Now, with all of this, Prakash, I would love to hear a little bit about your journey from where you started and what you do today.
That's an interesting question. Where I started, I think uh, conveniently I've forgotten that I'm a BSc Computer Science graduate. But then I don't know what dragged me to finance. I did a lot of, I just worked as an employee, I just worked for bank and finance companies. And then some calling happened that I should start on my own. 2013, I put on papers. 2014, I came out. And yeah, for 11 years, I've been doing training, coaching, all of this stuff.
Lovely.
Yeah, I love this space.
Lovely. One of the things when I was talking about your introduction, everything in the space of coaching, probably that's where we met as well. And, NLP and OD consulting. And what we're going to talk today is none of this, from the work that you do, but we're going to talk about, you as a marathon runner. Would love to hear about when did this journey of marathon start for you, and what was the starting point?
So, Neetu, first of all, I just wanted to say that uh, whether it is running or the trekkings that I do, or anything else that I do as part of my life, even starting my own business 11 years back, has all been part of some part of NLP is there. Maybe some part of coaching is there. So, though it doesn't look academic or business, the way I operate is sometimes, or many times, is how I've trained my mind using NLP or self coaching and stuff like that. So even if it
Yeah.
is running, then it still reflects my body of work in many ways. Now, why running started as a kid, I played a lot of cricket, like many of the Indians do. Then I picked up volleyball in my high school and uh, higher secondary as I went up to district level in volleyball. Then when I came
Wow.
to NCC, we had more opportunities, and then trekking happened because of NCC and college and stuff like that. So a lot of adventure sports then started happening. Then I almost got stuck to that. So here and there, whenever there is an opportunity, go for mountains, go for trekkings, whether it is weekend treks in the Western Ghats or it's long treks in Himalayas. Whenever there is a opportunity, I used to go for treks. And I also did my mountaineering course with the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. So
Wow.
then, so because of that course, because of too much in and out of mountains, I started feeling like a mountaineer trekker all the time. So that was the identity that had stuck to me for a long, long time.
Mm.
2012, we went for a trek in Ladakh. And after the trek, one friend of mine, Shrikant, he sent an email with subject line saying, after trek, what next? With three question mark. And then what he had done is basically he had just forwarded Kaveri Trail Marathon mail with a
Mhm.
different subject line. That's all. After trek, what next? And suddenly, it got triggered. I said, yeah, why not running? So I had not done long distance running. So maybe I'd practice running for whatever is required for trekking, but no long distance running. 42.2 kilometers is what I selected. The next thing I remember, I picked up the landline from my office desk, called Srikanth and said, partner, I have registered.
Wow.
So he said, very good. He is also in office, he's busy. He said, very good.
Hmm.
Closer to and this happened in July. So September 15th is the marathon. So closer to the marathon, he said, so we are going to meet here and there. Because we had to travel from Bangalore to Mysore because marathon was in Srirangapatnam. And he said, marathon will start at 6 o'clock. Then I said, no, 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 it will start at 5. Then he disagreed with me. He said, no, it starts at 6. I said, no, I have a mail which says it starts at 5. Then he said, what distance have you registered? I said, 42. He said, why did you register for 42? You're a first timer. I said, I don't know. You sent me mail, I registered. He was running for many years and he registered for 21. And that's why his start time was 6 and my start time was 5. Then I said, okay, it's okay. I will start at 5, you start at 6. That's how marathon started. It's because
Wow.
of him marathon started.
Wow. Because of
After
him.
doing what next is the line that brought me to running field.
Amazing. That's a great way of, getting yourself pushed into something that probably you didn't know you're going to run so long. So yeah, that's a very interesting start to your marathon journey. And yeah, so what happened? What happened after you started the run?
What happened, I think, I don't know whether I will turn this podcast to a comedy show, but what happened is I saw people at 4:30 a.m. going for short runs, doing some exercise. And I'm like, why are they wasting energy? Because you
Yeah.
have to run 42 kilometers.
Yes.
And I see people with water bottles in their, pouches. They are eating something. I have not eaten anything. And I took bath in the hotel, took good shower. I'm ready. And many people are discussing that, after marathon, I have to go take shower. And I'm like, why did you not take shower in the morning? That's the basic thing that you should do when you come out. I
Yeah.
have everything that a runner should not do on a race day. I've done everything that runner should not do. So they were actually doing warm up. It's a science. You do warm up, you do some stretching, you do some exercise, and then you run. I've done nothing. I'm just waiting at the start line for the whistle to blow off and then say, okay, let me start running. And as I run, I think there were some 500, 600 people in that category who were running 42 kilometers. It only took about 20 minutes, Neetu, for me to be alone. Everybody passed through it. And especially, those old
Mm.
guys just patting on my back and saying, come on, buddy. They are calling me, come on, but they are vanished. I'm like, I've not practiced. I have not done anything. But yet I'm running. Of course, when I was younger, I was running. I mean, I was not walking or I was not dragging myself. I was running, but these guys have trained well. They have scientifically gone through some training. So they were
Yeah.
actually keeping up with pace. They're looking at their watches. They're actually timing their run. But here I am. I don't know anything. I'm just on the track. But I was enjoying the fields on my left, the Kaveri channel on my right. A lot of humidity. Just by 6:30 or 6:45, I was dripping from everywhere.
Mm.
So this is a loop where you go 10 and a half, you come back 10 and a half, you come back to the start line,
Okay.
that is 21. Then you go back to the same point,
Okay.
10 and a half in and 10 and a half out.
Mm.
When I came back to the start line, I was really very, very tired.
Mm.
I think at least about 10 times I would have said to myself, you're coming to start line, this is good. I mean, just escape from here because I know my friend is also joining me in few minutes.
Yeah.
And then, the car is near, the hotel is near. I can see all the comforts on the other side of the
Yes.
start line.
Yes.
But then I said, let me run.
Mm.
So once I went back to the second loop, there was no coming back. But
Mm.
what happened is there is a slight elevation before you go to the midpoint.
Yeah.
Of legs started becoming heavier. My thighs got cramps. Uh, I then there was no running. I was jogging. Then after some time, I was walking. Then people around me saw that I was not comfortable. So you have this route marshals, in marathons, just to ensure that people are safe. So many people on this Honda Activa mopeds, they come, buddy, are you okay? I say, okay, okay. Every hydration station, I'm stopping. I'm having water. I'm having Enerzol. It was such a bad experience for the first time. I mean, I've done nothing good, nothing right as a marathon runner. I've not practiced enough for running 42 kilometers. And nothing went well on that day. And when I finished, it was 6 hours and 52 minutes. I was the last guy to cross the finish line that day. In fact, the organizers, we call them A1 and A2, Arvind 1 and Arvind 2, and Runners for Life, they were waiting to just see who is this guy who is still on the track, because everybody have to pack up and go for life. They're not amused. They're not looking for a international athlete performing. They just wanted to pack because the timing chip guy had put the mats. They had to pack up. They were waiting. Everybody were waiting. So yeah, this is what happened on that race day.
Wow. Running for 6 hours, 52 minutes on day
Running,
one.
walking,
Yeah.
jogging, limping,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to see the finish line.
Amazing. Tell me what was going on with you, mentally, emotionally, physically. What was going on?
So, Neetu, this is where, after probably about 30 kilometers, I think it was no more marathon. It was more about me, uh, you know, coaching myself using everything that I know about NLP. I think by that time, I was about 3 years into NLP. I'd just done my practitioner, but I started liking NLP so much. So I started using visualization. I started only thinking about finish line, and I'm just putting my right foot or red foot, left foot, across the finish line. But nothing was really helping. There was a lot of temptation. Every time I see a Honda Activa moped, they would offer telling, "We'll take you to the finish line."
Yeah.
It was so tempting, but then I said no. Somewhere I said that if I give up now, I think I will start learning the art of giving up, because this is a long time, a very anchored experience to learn the art of giving up. I just did not want to give up, because by 11 o'clock, the heat is blazing. Now you can imagine there is why did I tell you that there is one side canal?
Yeah.
When I'm returning, it is left side canal and right side sugarcane and paddy fields.
Yeah.
Humidity is crazy.
Yeah.
Sun is up. And I'm not prepared like other runners with the sun cap, goggle, nothing. I just told you, right? I've
Mm.
just gone. So in Hindi they say, no, muh utha ke chala gaya types. So I've just
Oh,
gone. I've just gone. I've gone to a place where I don't belong. But I
yeah.
just wanted to make sure that I see the finish line on my feet.
Mm.
Times I used to feel, why did I do it? I was regretting clicking on 42 kilometers. Probably 21 was better. Though I was dead tired even after 21, but 21 was better. But then I started feeling that I was alone. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of reflection time. So I started thinking that maybe I'm learning something. So I switched off from marathon, track, finish line, who will think what about my run, all
Mm.
of that. And I switched on to reflective mode. started thinking about my journey in MBA. I started thinking about my work. I was as a national head for a bank for training in for one of the divisions. So I started thinking about work. So I started consuming myself with other areas of life.
Yeah.
And then, if I was able to run a little after hydration station, I used to run. If I could not, then I used to walk. Then I started enjoying some small
Mm,
interactions with the villagers,
mm,
people who comes in the tractor, cycles. I started interacting with them. Then I said, I'll just enjoy this. Let's see what happens. So even if
wonderful.
I'm leaving, I used to speak to those kids who used to jump into the canal from a height because they were taking bath. It was a Sunday, so it was their time. So I used to interact with them, ask them which school they go, and then keep walking again. So yeah, I mean it was mentally very very taxing, and I think nothing in the body supported the last 10 or 11 kilometers. It's purely my mind telling me that I just want to see the finish line.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Because when you said this, something that I absolutely loved is you said you did everything that a marathoner should not do when you started the marathon, right? But you did everything that actually you should do to not quit.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful how you could see that finish line, even though it was 6 hour 52 minutes. But so what? It was all about believing that yes, you want to see the finish line on your own foot. And I mean, that's very inspiring to know that how you shifted from not knowing anything about what to do to really believing in yourself and using what you know. With whatever knowledge and experience you use that to the best of your abilities and usage at that point in time, and that got you to the finish line. What happened to you after you finished the first marathon? Did you really want to do the second one?
Okay. They say the worms go inside your brain once and then it only multiplies. It doesn't come out. So, so for me, I know that this was my worst marathon.
Yeah.
It was a failed attempt, but I would only take one leaf of success there that I finished on my feet. Otherwise, everything that happened on that day was a failed attempt.
Mm,
After that, I started enjoying that process of being alone, thinking,
mm,
reflecting. I liked it. Trekking also offers that kind of downtime for me to be myself. But then trekking involves 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. This is like just 2 hours, 3 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the
yeah.
morning. Then I said, hey, this is good. So then I started practicing. So what happened after September is I did something crazy in the month of November. I went for a 24 hours challenge. If 42 kilometers was not enough, I said I will run from this morning 5 o'clock to tomorrow morning 5 o'clock. So we were 16 of us, madness personified people like me who had also registered. So yeah, today morning 5 o'clock, tomorrow morning 5 o'clock.
Wow, that's 24 hours.
24 hours. So it's called 24 hours challenge.
Okay.
Once again, I don't say the guy who came first I still remember a Orissa guy. He did 168 kilometers in 24 hours.
Wow.
I did 104. So there is a lot of difference from the first guy to me. But the way I sustained for 24 hours, I really loved it. I really loved it. And then we did midnight marathon. Me and my partner, I told him, now we are not running 21. We are running 42. So both of us ran. In Bangalore, we have this midnight marathon. Starts at
Mm,
12 a.m.
mm.
So we ran together, 42 kilometers. So then
Wow.
then I told him, let's run 50 kilometers together. Then we ran 75 kilometers together. For the next 1 year, every month, one or the other event, one or the other event. I don't think I would have learned anything about myself if I did not fail in that first one. Because if the first attempt was a success, I mean, if I were to be comfortable, probably I would have just focused on running. Probably I would have done more marathons. But what I learned about myself, or how I stopped myself from creating the template of giving up, I think that would have not happened.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the biggest learning that I had because of my failed attempt in marathon.
yeah. Because from when you said that after the first one you did, the next one was running 24 hours. So I was expecting you to say, okay, the next one you did was a 21-kilometer one, but no, you didn't. You didn't stop. You tried different things, and what shifted in you after that first marathon? So the way you said, about failing in the first attempt is something that taught you so much about not how not to give up. And
Yeah. And I also felt that because of running and because of this kind of sport where you're alone, you're yourself, you're with yourself. I started becoming clearer with my decision making.
hmm,
A lot of things, would keep gathering in my head. And one day there is an event. On the event day, I run. After I run, I'm. It's not that I was thinking about it during the running, but after I run, I've probably taken a better decision.
yeah,
So because of because of this sport, because of uh, this downtime, I think I started taking good decisions. I don't know good or bad, but I started becoming clearer with my decision making.
hmm,
I think planning and decision improved. A lot of runners previous day you keep everything ready,
yeah,
keep alarms so that you don't miss. You don't keep one alarm. You just want to make sure that you get up.
yeah,
Lot of planning. I think that also creeped into my business because I after that I
hmm,
started my business. So my absolute discipline with running and all the planning that we do for running also
yeah,
had a good effect on my business.
yeah. It's wonderful to know that the ripple effect it has had on you. And you did mention that you ran 25 plus marathons, and starting from where you started as an impromptu decision just to run, and you selected a random number that looked good to you on the screen, to doing 25 marathons. What is something that you've learned about failure, preparation, self mastery?
When you run, you always run alone. No
Yeah,
matter even if there is a partner with you, it is
sure.
your own run. So
Yeah,
everybody who is part of any kind of sport, you will see that it's all about you.
absolutely.
You there is something that you learn, some shift will happen.
Hmm.
You just need to be ready to reflect on it. Maybe because of running, like you said, what's about failure? I did not allow the failure to happen. That's the template. If I had I given up on the first marathon, no matter how many marathons I ran, even if I did a podium finish, which is very unlikely, I'm very slow runner. So even if I did a podium finish, I would have not learned had I not gone to the finish line. Then I understood that these are the elements. This is how you eat before marathon.
Yeah,
Prepare yourself for marathon. Knowing that, I think now maybe I'm taking running a little more scientifically and professionally, but the first marathon should have been like that. If that
yeah,
was scientific, then I would have not discovered myself. So and you spoke about preparation. What happens with runners is you even if somebody offers a dinner on Friday night, you don't end up there.
hmm,
Saturday morning is a run. So even family dinners and parties is not on
yeah,
Friday night.
Yeah.
You don't stress yourself on Friday nights. You don't binge watch Netflix or Amazon Prime on Friday nights. So you sleep early because you have to get up at 4 o'clock. You have to go for a long
Yeah.
run. You keep
Yeah.
everything ready, including car keys, your hydration, little money in the pocket, whatever it is, you keep everything in the night so that morning you don't disturb the family. Then I understood that, these are the elements, this is how you eat before. So many things that happens because of a sport.
Yeah.
That also creeps into other areas of life.
There's so much that goes beyond what actually you see, and it's not just the run, it's the preparation, it's the discipline, it's the self-awareness. So much that you've spoken about, and the way you shared that, had you for your first marathon, you wouldn't have learned so much more about yourself. So it all happened organically for you, and it all happened with the first failure. So even though it's not a real failure, but then there's so much that you learned about yourself, and I think that's something, a wonderful message for our listeners as well. Believing in yourself and moving on will take you to the finish line, and that's amazing to learn about your marathon journey. How did your marathon journey start shaping who you were on the outside of running, as a person, profession, or in relationships?
Because you said relationship, I spoke to you, I told you about Midnight Marathon. So there is this, marriage alliance that had come up, uh, a family friend. And to even get married to my wife, it was a long discussion during that Midnight Marathon, me and Srikanth. And after that marathon is when I decided that I will get married. So
Wow.
for me, marathons and trekkings have been, if I take any long run, any big trekking, I know that after that, something big is going to happen.
Yeah.
Something will change. So I quit my job after another, Kaveri Trail Marathon in 2013. I I started coaching after a marathon.
Hmm.
After trek, after a trek, I started coaching. I decided that I will enroll for a MCC after a trek, or
Wow.
rather, and because I wanted to go for a trek, I finished submission for MCC and went for a trek. So any good and big things happen in life, it has always happened before and after marathons and treks.
Wow.
That's how it has operated for me outside. And the way I think in terms of business, in terms of how I deal with people, like I'm absolutely fine to hear a blatant no from anybody.
Mm.
It's so easy to hear a no for me and simply not judge them or even think about it. It's very easy. And I think this is simply because sometimes mountains tells you a big no and you have to return back. So I'm used to hearing no from racers, from treks. 2019 we went for a trek, for a frozen river trek. And as we were approaching the final leg, we finished it, we were returning back, and then the frozen part of the river broke. So we took a detour for I don't know how many hours just to come back for a 700 or 800 meters straight line, which was broken. We have traveled more than 4.5 5 hours to just reach that 800 meters.
Wow.
We have gone everywhere because now the mountain said no. So, I mean, listening to a no from nature, from your own body, then you start accepting it without any judgment, as it is. It becomes very easy to accept no from clients,
Yeah.
no from people whom you work with. It's very easy. And there is no judgment. There is nothing at all. Life as it is. So I feel that the free flowing of life that simply goes on becomes very easy. At
Yeah.
least that is what has happened to me because of trekking or running.
Yeah, that's a beautiful message. Just go on. Even if someone says no, not to take it personally, but just accept it and, go on. With the career that you have in the space of coaching, NLP, and with your experiences, being a marathon runner, do you see any parallels between long distance running and life larger journeys?
Let's say a marathon, long distance running. The energy that you have in the beginning is probably not the same energy that you will have after some time. You will have some hydration stations, you will have some energy bars, oranges, peanuts, sandwiches, small sandwiches kept, but you still have to reach there to collect it. It doesn't come to you.
Yeah.
So, when you're doing business, let's say you start doing something, your energy is high,
Yes.
but then after some time you will see that you're very monotonous. Running is very monotonous.
Yeah.
So you just it's just the cyclical way of legs going front and back. Business is like that. You start doing the same thing. It's very monotonous. It's not very rewarding every day morning. You don't wake up to meeting celebrities every day, and it's not a show business. But business is a very monotonous thing. So
Yeah.
to have that energy, that's the parallels. You still have to have the energy, that one step at a time, one step at a time, one more step at a time. Because the more longer you run, you will see that energy depletes even more. Then you
Yeah.
look for hydration stations, you fuel yourself. So even in business, you start learning things. Maybe you'll attend a program, maybe you will meet a mentor. That's your fuel. You'll start gathering little more energy so that you can push maybe for another 3 kilometers till you get the next hydration station.
Yeah.
Unlike marathons, maybe there is no finish line in business, or in anything that you do, or maybe in relationships. There is no finish line in relationship. You just keep
Yeah.
running. You just keep running. You just take that next one step. You just say that, okay, 2 more kilometers, there is a hydration station. Because everywhere there are boards, 1 kilometer to hydration station. And sometimes that's the motivation for a runner. Okay, 1 more kilometer, I'll get to eat something or I get to drink something. So
Yeah.
in relationships also, sometimes we rekindle the relationships. Maybe some, occasions like, anniversaries, birthdays, some special occasions, acts as fuel, you rekindle the relationship. So I think that's the parallels. One, one more step, one
Yeah.
more kilometer, and you know that you're going to refuel.
Mhm. Well, that's amazing. That whole thing of yes, you have to take one more step, but believing that you will get to refuel at some stage,
Yeah.
and just going on with that just makes you reach that finish line, whatever that goal you're looking at. And great for for me to take back as well. So thank you for that message. Um, if I have to ask you maybe two or three simple practical mindset shifts or habits anybody can apply, whether they're running marathons or chasing any goals, what would you suggest?
I don't know if I can suggest, but I'll tell you what has happened to me. In the beginning, I told you, not knowing anything, going completely unprepared to an unknown territory, and then just staying there, being with that experience. I think the mindset shift that I got because of that is that I started believing that I can walk into any unknown area
Hmm.
and experience that. And if I'm uh, working hard enough, then probably I will see the finish line. So
Yeah.
it so happened, even with business, we charted into unknown territories. We saw the finish line. And the second thing is, I in whatever area of life, whatever I'm doing, organically, if something goes bad, organically, if I'm stopped by the nature to not go ahead, it's okay. I mean, sometimes we
Hmm.
plan to go for a trip, let's say car breaks down, it's all
Yeah.
organic. You don't, but I don't want to learn the art of giving up. And the third thing, personally, for me is the amount of downtime anybody can get from this kind of sport, that is running. I mean, if you're in the gym, let's say, you're in front of the mirror, there is loud music, you pick up a dumbbell and you keep doing this. You don't get us, reflective time for yourself. Or
Yes.
when you're doing yoga, somebody is instructing, do this asana, that asana. Maybe you don't get reflective. But if you are going for a long walk, you come back with tired legs and clear mind.
Yeah. True.
You go for a long run, you come back dead tired, but with an absolutely clear mind.
Yes.
You connect with yourself absolutely superbly
Yeah.
if you're in this kind of sport. I think
Yes.
for me, personal connection with myself is the biggest gift that I've drawn from running or trekking.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a beautiful point that you made, Prakash, that connecting with yourself. We're
Yeah.
so busy in today's world. We're always connected to something or the other, either to a screen or either to, some thought, but nothing that connects to us, our inner self.
Yeah.
And there's very little time people actually spend with their own self. And, when you get into that phase of connecting to your inner self, that changes so much. And I agree with you that, a marathon or a trek or just spending time where you're not doing anything with anyone else um, connects you so well within who you are. So
Yeah.
yeah, great points there. Um, so I'll take you back to the running and the marathon. And I would ask you one question. If you had to go back and talk to yourself, to your former self before that first marathon, what would you say?
I wish I would have started early because I think I started pretty late in my life. I think I was uh, 30 plus when I started.
Mm,
I would have started early. Maybe I'd have been a better runner. More
mm,
than that, I think I would have discovered myself even better had I
yeah.
started early. I think, yeah, I should have started early.
And if there's one message that you want to give to anybody who's currently going through a failure or a setback of any kind, whether it's career, relationship, personal connect, or whatever, what would you suggest?
I mean, as a coach, I don't believe in suggestions, but honestly, for anybody, any sport actually has got a great connection to how you wire your brain. Got a very, very positive impact on every other area of life. So eh, run, do yoga, Zumba, whatever you want. Just do something so that you're able to go on, you're able to move on. And I'm just thinking now, maybe I'll write a book on my first marathon experience and all the other experiences. Maybe I'll just write a book.
Yeah,
I'm really loving this space of as I speak to you, I'm reflecting more, thinking that that I've actually got so much from the last 13 years of running and trekking and all of that. But any sport will actually create a positive impact, extremely positive impact in any area of life that you want. Sport
yeah,
is good. Do some sport.
wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure it would inspire a lot of our listeners who would have probably been into something at some stage of life and then life happened, got busy, moved on.
Neetu, can I share something?
Sure.
See, a lot of times gym is associated with six packs.
Yeah.
Running is associated with like you have to sprint. You have
Yeah.
to you have to be fast runner. I mean, if you tell people that you're able to run 10K in 45 minutes, 50 minutes, they say, wow. If you go to gym, then you should have a six pack.
Yeah.
That's the association that we make. And this is a societal validation that we are looking for.
Yeah.
You can just be a regular person in whatever you do, whether you're gymming, yoga, or anything. And let's say if you are doing yoga, doesn't mean you have to do a handstand and walk everywhere.
Yeah.
You can just do simple stuff and yet see great results in other areas of life.
Yeah.
You became sharper, I mean, maybe your health improved because you showed up to gym every day.
Yeah.
Probably you'll never get a six pack. So what?
Yeah.
See, because of every day showing up to gym, maybe you have become better with your team. You became a better team player.
Yeah.
That's the result you should be focusing on. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you for sharing all that you shared with us, your experiences of, how starting with a failure has actually turned you into, someone who's learned so much about your own self and been able to do, not just marathons, but it's reflected in every aspect of your life. And that's been my takeaway, that reflecting on the failure, understanding what it is teaching you about yourself and what it can, help you grow into, is what failures actually are there for. Thank you for sharing all that you've shared. It
Thank you.
was amazing to have you at the podcast.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you. That was a powerful episode, reminding us that what we see is just the surface. There's so much more to discover underneath. If you liked our episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this with your loved ones. The Iceberg Theory drops new episodes every 2 weeks. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.